Okay, here we are once again. Another list in our continuing list of lists. Well, we're getting there. We're probably three-quarters of the way through. We've got another handful of lists or so. How do I know? Well, we're at the halfway point. We've talked about lists concerning issues, pre-college, uh, early college, mid-college, now halfway point, and then going from there. So there's a lot that has been revealed, has been understood, has been done. And the earlier you do, or the more timely, I should say, you do the things that you're supposed to be doing. Um, and, opinion varies as to when you should do certain things, acquire certain things, knowledge, insights, uh, plans, goals, attributes, whatever, at various times. But I always say the earlier the better, right? Why wait? There are some things that some students, I'm sure, will not have done even at the halfway point. But stuff that should have been done probably late high school, pre-college at some point, freshman year at the latest. But I understand not everybody does what they're supposed to be doing. I'm there. I'm part of that crowd. And not everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing at the right time, right? So, but anyways, I can tell you from experience, and I have a lot of experience, that there is a certain methodology that will save you. There's very little information going out from faculty members from the collegiate level or from the parental level, the familial level, as to what college is all about, what it isn't, the difference between high school and college, uh, what a degree is, what it isn't, what it will do for you, won't do for you, how to prepare yourself for college, how to match yourself, your basic innate, born with them skills, tendencies, abilities, interests, talents, gifts, and so forth. Match that to a training methodology, which includes, in most cases, to the greatest degree, a bachelor's degree. Speaking of degrees, there you go, right? So anyways, the halfway point, what to do now. If you haven't looked closely at your major, the classes entailed, and your direction and focus, now is the time to do it, as I said. Of course, better late than never, but keep in mind that the above should be considered early on, even before freshman year. Planning, vision, and focus are critical to your college success. Good luck. And may that luck and fortune continue with you. Number one, how's it going? Or how's it going so far? Um, how's it gone so far? The courses, everything really. Learning, time management, and so on. What have you learned? Content and learning skills. What have you what acquired knowledge, or have you acquired knowledge or just gotten grades and forgotten the content? What of the content? Now that's a sore point. Research has been done in this. There is so much that students don't know, and I'm sure there are many faculty members that don't know either. Believe me, most faculty members are really good at teaching what they teach, or I should at least say they're knowledgeable in what they teach. Not every faculty member is a good teacher, because we don't all have degrees in teaching. We have degrees in what we're teaching, but we don't have a degree in pedagogy, a degree in education. So that is often a challenge for many instructors. And I've seen the questions come up from students and instructors alike. What's going on? What's going on here? I don't know. Well, I know, and I've studied it quite a bit and really looked into it. That's why I'm giving you what I'm giving you here, right? So, as far as learning is concerned, there's very little learning going on the first 2 years, which makes sense because that's a lot of your electives, classes that you didn't sign up for. I didn't sign up for this, that type of thing, right? So and that's the thing. If you're not motivated to learn, you will not learn. It just doesn't happen through some magical process. You got to plan for it. You've got to understand it, what you're learning, why you're learning it, how to learn it, how to maintain that knowledge, how to build upon that knowledge. Uh, you graduate from high school, case in point. If you don't refresh any of that knowledge, it just dissipates relatively rapidly. I know I've been, for years I was trying to help my kids, even with some high schools, material. And there were certain things that I'd forgotten. I took biology class, but forgot a lot of that. Wasn't really able to help my kids with that. I took a chemistry class. I did okay in both those classes, but as far as remembering the material, I don't work in those fields. That knowledge has dissipated. You don't use it, you lose it. That knowledge is far gone. The math, a little easier because that's something that I kept up with, stuck with quite a bit. Was okay with algebra 1, but algebra 2, again, not a math major or a math teacher, even though I was considering teaching math at one point. I have enjoyed working with math. So all of this, you really got to think this stuff through. You don't just get a degree and all of a sudden something magical happens and you're transformed, There's a lot that you have to do. There's a lot that you have to prepare for. There's a lot of things to think about. Think about it as you're moving through the process, as we're doing so here, right? All right, sorry about that. I'm rambling on a tad. But anyways, we're talking about knowledge acquired. First 2 years, not much because of electives. Even the last 2 years, research has shown maybe 30% or so, low 30 percentile, is about the level at which retention remains for most graduates. And that's, shortly after the fact. If you don't rework that knowledge, it's just going to, or add to it, it's just going to dissipate and disappear, right? Anyways, what of the content? How and where is it applied? What skills have you picked up or improved? Test taking, note taking, time management, analysis, research, critical thinking, inducing, deducing, inferring, all those things, and so much more. What's missing? What needs to be improved upon? What about the college system, professors, classwork? A lot to look at and a lot to think about, but it is essential that you do so that you can move forward with greater skill, precision, and grace. All right. Number 2. May sound strange, but do you like your major? A lot of people find out that they don't like their major sometimes after they've graduated. My sister's friend, biology major, graduated with a degree in biology, 3 months in the field, decided she hated it, quit. She went into making sales for sailboats, not making sales like a sail, selling stuff, but she made sales for sailboats. I don't know if she was doing them by hand or the particulars or the specifics, but anyways, she got into that and she started her own business and really enjoyed it and did well. This happens all the time. I ran into a student who obtained his degree in, I think, MIS, Management Information Systems. And he was in the computer field, similar thing, maybe 3 to 6 months. Hated it. And then I said, so what are you doing now? He says, I'm back in school. I'm going to law school. This is par for the course. 50% of students don't make it. They don't graduate any given year. Students will be saying, I'm going to get my 4-year degree. They go off. Only about 50% do get their degree. And of those who do get their degree, within 7 to 10 years, they're no longer working in a field related to their major. Now, some of that is fine. Some of that's going to happen because we're not visionaries. We can't see into the future. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, how the job market is out there, how we're really going to feel about our job or career or what we do and what we majored in once we get out there and do it. There is oftentimes a gap or a difference, sometimes considerable, between what you think you're getting into or imagined and what you actually get into. A friend of mine's a lawyer, he's been a lawyer for quite some time. And he said, Jeff, the last thing I wanted to do was paperwork, and that's predominantly what I do, paperwork. There you have it, right? The thing I do most is probably grade papers, and it's the least enjoyable thing that I do. That's life. You'll find similar things like in marriage and rearing children, you love your kids, but there's a lot of things you have to do. Make them eat, make them get to bed on time, make them do their homework, make sure that they're not hanging out with untoward friends, that they're good, moral, ethical people on the up and up and so forth and so on. That's not a lot of fun. Disciplining people, browbeating people to get them to do things. It's not a lot of fun. I was never good at that. I don't do it well with my kids, and I don't do it well with my students or my wife or anybody or me. Anyways, where were we? If how about a major change like another major? How do you feel about that, right? So at this point, you've had enough time, take some courses in your major, get a feel for the content. How do you feel about them? Are you still enthused? Do you have a desire for change? How about a major change like another major? If you're really struggling to find interest and enthusiasm about your major at this point, continuing would be pointless. It's best to change direction now while you still have a chance. You don't want to keep moving forward in mediocrity, obtain a degree with a low GPA, and not have many prospects for the future. Plus, you're going to spend all that time and money, especially money, and you're going to graduate with a degree that's not really going to end up being fruitful or that useful for you. Because if you don't have enthusiasm, you don't have interest really per se in the substance of that degree, a very short period of time, you're either going to get bored, quit, or get fired. It's just common sense, facts of life. That's the way it works. I've been there. I've seen family and friends been there. I've seen many former students and clients been there. So I can tell you that that's all true. Number 3, being too general is generally not good. You may not know what to do with your major specifically, but refining and focusing is the key to success. Case in point, my daughter majored in business, and I told her to be more specific. She wasn't, but when she graduated, she said, I should have focused my business major on marketing. I should have been more specific. She probably just forgot about our conversation by the time she graduated, right? So, don't just be a business major. Business major, good Lord. You know how many different types of businesses are out there and the different types of jobs within the field of business, right? It's very open. Employers don't want a generalist. They want someone who will fill a niche within their company, narrowing down because it's the age of specialists, right? They used to say it's the information age. Now it's the suggestion age, meaning that those who are experts, with all this knowledge, data, and information out there, it's nearly impossible. And also because of technology, with the speed at which things change, it is impossible. I can tell you. I don't want to say nearly, almost, might be. It is impossible to keep up with that change. I worked as a computer programmer, or I should say I worked in the computer field. For some time, I worked in computer operations, then I moved up into programming, systems analyst. And after about 6 years, I was done. I was baked. I was cooked. It was just too much, constantly keeping up with the new technology that's coming out, being informed and reinformed and reinformed. And I was just at my wit's end. So that's why I got out of the field. Anyways, narrowing down a major to a more specific niche within the overall major is what your career dreams are made of. Such a focus sends a clear message to your potential employer that you're committed to your subject matter, know what you're doing, and understand how the workplace functions, right? So that's very important, to say the least. And there's so much here. I do these, I think of this oftentimes, where I'm doing these lists, and I'm really hitting most of the stuff in a very cursory manner. If I went into considerable detail, I could probably take each one of these items and go for hours. there's just so much here. So, but, I'll continue to record videos and hopefully, I can keep going over points, not moot points, but important points that need to be restated and remade and help people out some, right? Building that degree to perfection. No two degrees are alike, or better yet, there's a greater variety to a degree than most students know. You have many options, so what are yours? If you don't have a plan by the midpoint, it's not too late, but you're getting there. What classes have you taken and passed? That's a good point. Add that in there, passed, and hopefully, preferably passed very well, at least to be, preferably an A. Where is that taking you within the major you've chosen? Get a department advisor and work with them to make sure the next few years are full of classes that will specifically help you move forward. In some colleges, the very first year, freshman year, you might get a department advisor. I remember I had the chair, the English chair of the department. That was my major, English. And I remember he came out, he had like khakis on or some military shorts and a tank top or something, and very long hair. And I'm going, oh, who's this student coming towards me? And it was the chair of the English department. Go figure. Things have changed. But anyways, yeah, we'll talk more about that, getting counseling before, during, and after, and not just those within your department or major. Get an advocate within the department to help you. Again, it would be ideal to establish this next step your freshman year, or at least sophomore year, but better late than never. At this point, it is essential to get someone on your side, on the inside, a department professor who can help you whittle down your major to those key classes that will help you in the focus direction you're moving. It will behoove you to get a professor who's been teaching for at least 5 to 10 years, somebody with experience, who's established, right? You also might need them to help you get into grad school or maybe find a job at some point, right? I never really did much of that. Some people are more independent than others, but these are suggestions for anybody who really needs them. It's not all just do everything that is said here across the board without differentiation. No, that's not the point. A lot of this is, it's the high-end hand-holding that I'm working with, right? And if you need less hand-holding, some hand-holding, a little hand-holding, no hand-holding, it's up to you. You know you better than you because you spend more time with you than anybody else, right? So I don't know you. Sometimes I don't even know me, so I can't help you with you. If you're really committed to this college thing, then set your schedule accordingly. Best thing to do is get through the college experience as quickly as possible within reason. If you're young, under 40, then you probably have the energy to work and go to college full time, all 4 semesters, winter, spring, summer, fall. This is what I did, and I finished my BA and MA in 3.5 years. Of course, I had a few college classes that I transferred into my BA, but not many. Here's something to remember. Success isn't so much about what you do as it is what you're willing to sacrifice to do that thing. Meaning, why work 8 years comfortably when you can grind a little and get it done in half the time? Again, this is individual based. Some people can do this, some people can't do this. Some people do this really well. A friend of mine was working full-time, going to school full-time, taking about 15 to 17 units and always on the dean's list, That's crazy. That's about as crazy as it gets. That's, high end, impossible. You got to be kidding me. Is this guy for real? Is he from another planet? Is he human? Right? Well, some people can work at that level. Some people can do that. Not a lot. So on a sliding scale, most of us are probably more towards the middle. But there are those high-end people, right? So where are you? How do you want to work this thing? And you kind of have to go by feel. 7, get someone with cold, hard experience to help. I've mentioned this before in other videos, and this harkens back to before college or at least freshman year. But it would be great to talk to someone who's been working in the field again, some 5 to 10 years. Not a professor in this case, but a layperson outside of academia. I don't see a lot of suggestions in this area, but this is a good one. if I may say so myself. I've had students and clients find out things about work and career that they've never imagined. Like an engineering candidate who spoke to 3 experienced engineers, all mentioning family as a primary concern. She asked the 3 experienced engineers, what has been the greatest concern, uh, over your career? And all 3 of them, oddly enough, said family. I always consider my family first and foremost before I make any major decisions in my career. Where's that in your textbook? Does that show up in your textbook? So that's why academia is nice, but sometimes academia or academics live in a vacuum. They don't live in the real world. That's why I say, you know, um, don't just be an academic. I'm an adjunct, and I worked in several fields. I've worked in 5 different fields. I started out just kind of messing around. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I eventually got into the computer field and was there about 6, 7 years. Then I got into the entertainment industry for about 5, 6 years. And then I moved into teaching, and then built my coaching program, right? So, you know, what is your career path? And people will say, well, just go to college and get a degree. Where was the degree? Where was the degree, or what degree should I have taken for my position? A writer, researcher, teacher, coach, type of person, where's that degree? That's not out there. So sometimes you have to piece it together yourself, right? Figure it out yourself. There's no hard and fast answers or rules to success or achievement, right? I once read something that, most people who succeed in different ways, or succeed for different reasons, have patterns of success or achievement that differentiate considerably from others who are also successful. There's certain core things that they do, for sure. Like not calling in sick too many times, being willing to work, and put in the time, doing more than you asked to do, not 100%, maybe 500, 1,000%, go crazy, go ballistic. Sure, there are those certain characteristics or elements of successful people that are in place, but also, the actual tangible things that they did in order to be successful, and the ways in which those events piled up, and and what sequence and so forth varies and has varied over time. So keep that in mind. It's not, it's not a hard and fast mathematical system. There's some skill, or as a craft, it's a skill. You kind of have to play it by ear at times, listening closely to yourself, your inner guru. Well, this isn't working out, something's wrong, I can feel it, what do I do? That type of thing. So anyways, there's a lot there. 8, much of it goes beyond the classroom. Book work is fine, but what about acquiring skills in the workplace, even connections that will pay off tenfold when you graduate? What are your work skills or soft skills? Communications, punctuality, critical logical thinking, doing more than you're asked to do, going beyond what is expected, productivity, so forth and so on. As for connections, I suggest students get a job at a facility in which they'd utilize their degree and begin showing then and there your commitment to your career and said work, right? So some students say, well, I can't get experience as a lawyer until I get my law degree. Well, work for some lawyers, answering phones, entering the wastebasket. So who cares, right? Get on the inside, get some connections, see what the environment's like, get a feel for it. Talk to these people while you're there, while you're working, and any capacity. Doesn't matter what you're doing: parking cars, answering phones, filing papers, dumping trash, whatever. You know, you say, hey, I'm a lawyer. I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm working on my undergrad, then I'm going to law school next year, blah, blah, blah. Oh, great. We would love you to do anything here. That's the type of person we want working here, right? Then you pick their brains, you ask them questions, you get in the environment, get a feel for it, get a hands-on uh, feel for what's going on, right? Where were we? Number 9. This is the big rush. So get ready to roar. Last 2 years are where it comes together here. You're moving away from electives and getting more into core classes for your major. It's time to amp it up and bring it home with some energy, commitment, and follow through. Good luck. Okay. So yeah, the most challenging years, you're done with the electives, the survey courses, the easy stuff, the generic general courses, kind of like the encyclopedia courses, I call them, right? Then your junior and senior year, you're getting into much more of the core work for your major. You got to ramp it up. And then if you go to grad school, good luck to you. That's very difficult. Getting your master's and or your PhD, very challenging, very difficult. You can't get anything lower than a B, at least for your master's. So that's something to consider. But, if you're going for your master's at that point, you're motivated. So, why would anyone want to get a C? Someone who's that committed probably wouldn't be happy with a C or accept a C. I'll take that course over again, right? All right, so that's it. Until next time, until next list, you all take care and have a good one.